Welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. There are so many upcoming events heading our way, from the Unmasked Gala to the OIC Middle Class Summit to building your business through story and a look at what my workshop looks like. We're going to get to that in just a moment, but first, let's look at the Unmasked Gala and why they're focusing on first responders. Without question, we recognize the strenuous work of the lives of first responders, long hours, insurmountable demands, and yes, anxiety. Some would say it's servants equipped to cope. It's the focus of this year's Unmasked Gala presented by the Healing Arts Institute. Its founder, Dr. Thelma Tenney, highlighted the need for mental health among law enforcement last year. This year, she's looking at first responders as a whole.
A lot of times we think that mental health is not important. I work with cardiologists all the time who refer hundreds of clients to me because they come into the cardiologist or the ER because they think they're having a heart attack, when in actuality it's anxiety. So they rule out everything else and everything is okay. And then, right, there's the anxiety that's there. So I just wanted to say that is an example of how mental health affects everything. You're thinking and talking about your brain. So if your brain goes, everything else goes with it.
You can expect to hear from riveting speakers from the industry, and it's not just first responders that will benefit from the conversation, but anyone in the service industry. And in South Florida's tourism state, that includes quite a few people. Healing Arts Institute offers no-cost mental health services and is used as a resource by the Broward County Sheriff's Office for those in need. Join us for the Unmasked Gala, September 21st. You can register today at healingartssfl.org. Now, my recommendation for the Unmasked Gala is to make it a weekend, right? You're going to be there at the Conrad Hotel right there on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Why not stay the night, have dinner, dancing, and just enjoy yourself? Take a mental health break. I mean, that's in part what the Unmasked Gala is all about. It's not only about being informed and learning, but it's about an opportunity to let your hair down, get loose on the dance floor, have fun, and a chance to meet mental health therapists in person. Take that fear, take that stigma uh, out of the way. So go to healingartssfl.org for more information on that. Now, I also want to bring to your attention that the OIC of South Florida is having their Middle Class Summit. I went to this a couple of years ago. It was phenomenal, blew me away. I covered that story, but I tell you what you will learn there is phenomenal. Here's a look at some of what happened last year. From the time you walked in the room, you knew something big was happening, as hundreds of difference makers from across the country filled the room in anticipation of day 2 of the OIC South Florida Middle Class Summit. It was held at the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. This clamoring of networking and collaboration came with one purpose in mind: to strengthen, increase, and discuss strongholds plaguing the middle class.
Our core focus is to really foster a community where everybody have an opportunity for economic mobility. Hence, our participating and leading and driving this middle class summit, specifically entitled Building, Elevating, and Sustaining the Middle Class. Right now, everybody's feeling it, right? Whether it's at the gas pump, whether it's at the grocery store, whether it's the cost of healthcare, if you even have one, and not to mention the cost of housing, which is out of control. And so we want to convene leaders, politicians, policymakers, workforce professionals, and all community stakeholders to help find solutions that are actionable to reconcile this challenge we have in front of us.
This summit really typifies the issues at hand for the middle class. And it's so important that the summit really recognizes that it takes a community to solve the problem. Poverty is not a problem of just poor people, it's a problem of our community. Homelessness is not a homelessness problem, it's a problem for our community. And when you see the passion, compassion, and work that's being done by funders, people on the front line, and OIC is so proud to be a host and a convener of the community.
What attracted the attendees to be a part of the Middle Class Summit?
Our HAP OIC in Minnesota, what we would really benefit from other OICs throughout the nation, and especially the OIC here in South Florida, is truly, again, learning from those who have been on this journey for decades, learning from everybody, and truly being a partner who, though we may be states away from each other, can still support each other and use our voices in unity to fight for more resources.
I recently formed a nonprofit organization called MIST Inc., and I seek to recruit and or take in aged out youth. So out of curiosity, I decided that I would attend this summit to educate myself on the thinkings of those that make the laws, that interact daily with individuals in low income and or poverty stricken area, so that I know what I will need for my business.
So OIC does something that is critically important. It takes those who are underemployed and not necessarily employable and turns them into being employed, contributing citizens of our society. This OIC Middle Class Summit is the vision of a great visionary, and that is Newton Sannon, who is the CEO of OIC. And as an ICAPA member, he represents exactly what ICAPA is all about, and that is getting involved and supporting individuals who are leaders like him to be able to make an impact. And he represents ICAPA in the very greatest tradition of what we've built, and we're looking forward to working with him and all the other members who are doing great things like Newton, so that we can take our communities to the very next level of economic empowerment, wealth creation, and leadership.
OIC's President Newton Sannon leaving no stone unturned.
Hello, I'm Marco Rubio, and it's an honor to represent our great state of Florida in the United States Senate.
On the guest list, several members of Congress and local leaders. But what set the tone for the day was a slew of A-rated panelists with a passion for progress and transparency.
Hi, I'm Terry Williams, and I'm President and Chief Operating Officer of One United Bank. We are the largest Black-owned bank in the country. We're located in Liberty City. We're located in our community, and sometimes that also makes a difference. All these programs that are available to our young people, it's getting the word out to them that these programs exist, and it's also identifying the businesses that will train our young people.
Anyone from the YMCA here today. There we go. Thank you. We have an extraordinary partnership among these 27 locations. This is our most recent one in the heart of Sistrunk, 33311. For those who don't know, highest number of individuals in the state of Florida that are living in poverty under age of 18. We've parked ourselves in 10,000 square feet at this beautiful YMCA facility, and now people will literally look out of their homes and see Broward College. They can walk down the street and take a class without ever having to get on a bus, without ever not having the technology, all these things. So what does it look like to address that 87% failure rate as a nation when it comes to helping those who need it most get to where they need to be? It's the collaboration that allowed us to do that.
I established a program called Construction Trades in partnership with Lennar and the Dolphins Foundation. In this particular program, it's an 11-week construction trade program where they learn skills in HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. They come out, they are OSHA certified. This program, part of what we're doing is not only helping them, one, position themselves for greater employability, but I want them to learn how to be able to go on and create their own businesses.
We ultimately ended up with 6 zip codes in Broward County that are our most economically distressed. Between Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach, there were 100,000 young men between the ages of 16 and 24 that were not working and not going to school. Just totally checked out of the system. But how do we go about getting those 100,000 young men, all different races, back into the system and wanting to work?
So what I heard was there are a lot of resources. What I don't think I'm hearing, except now, like you just mentioned, that you have a coordinated effort. And I think that's kind of really where some of our energy needs to go. How can we know who's doing what, and how can I intersect with you, right? Now you've told me, I've heard, and how can I intersect with you and you? I already know how we can intersect. So, but how do we intersect, and who's missing from the equation? So while you were thinking or talking, I was thinking, $100,000, where might they be? Like, where do people collect themselves with regularity? One, I know, is work, right? Two, school. I mean, people go to these two places regularly, and they go to houses of worship regularly. So, you know, what role can the faith community play in what we're working on, this skills gap challenge?
There were so many astonishing factors and statistics discussed by the panelists that you might not expect impacted the middle class. Then the panel for criminal justice took the stage, which could have had a summit of their own. There was a hush in the room as they began to share, and something special did happen.
We are trying to do the things that some of these other offices are now trying to get to do, which is recognize that everybody who breaks the law is not necessarily a criminal. And if somebody's got an underlying mental health problem, drug problem, or some other type of issue, let's deal with that issue to keep them from coming back into the system. One of the primary indicators that a kid was going to end up engaged in criminal behavior, absenteeism from school. You know what the legislature did in its infinite wisdom? They did away with the budget and told us we could not do those programs, and then told us if we used our own funding that we got from them to those programs, they would cut our budget.
Is that even the word, when you use the word criminal, or when you use the word felon, right? We have seen by just putting the word illegal in front of someone else that they automatically dehumanizes that individual, and there's less empathy for the plight of people that's trying to come to this country. At the end of the day, every human being that have served their time deserves an opportunity to successfully reintegrate back into their community, period.
Jasmine is 100% right. We have got to do right by the people who are getting out. Because if we want to be safe and we want them to have productive lives, we have got to eliminate so many barriers. There's so many barriers. I can't hire enough people in my office, and yet if I'm going to have them on a job where they're looking at criminal justice system data, they can't have a prior criminal history. So I'm precluded from hiring the type of people that will know how to deal better with my clients than the people who have never been through the system, but I can't hire them. Imagine if there was a point in time where my budget could be half, the state attorney budget could be half, because we figured out how to help people in their community without criminalizing their behavior.
So I'm happy to say, in that 58,000 square feet facility that's on 5.3 acres of land that we pay $1 a year for, right? We have OIC that has a space in that facility that deal with reentry and training. We have Career Source South Florida that deal with job placement. And then we have the Circle of Brotherhood, right? That had the audacity to be convicted felons to reach out to the major police departments in Miami-Dade County to train them in our facility. So all of the cadets that come through the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County Police Department have to come to our facility for a full day of training. So let me leave out the Public Defender's Office. So we train new lawyers in the police office, Public Defender's Office. We train cadets in Miami-Dade County in the city of Miami, right? So they have to. come to our facility and be trained by men who have been incarcerated so they can hear their side of the story. And I'm telling you, when they come there and when they leave, it's a totally different story.
We're proud to announce that we'll be the first state attorney's office in the state of Florida, one of the first state attorney's offices throughout the country, or prosecutorial offices in the country, that we're actually going to partner with the public defender's office. We're going to partner with OIC. Thank you to Mr. Newton Sannon, CEO and president. We're creating a diversion program that is going to be geared toward those people that may fall in that gray area. This program is titled the Economic Empowerment Today Diversion Program, where individuals who commit nonviolent felony offenses, and even some, most third-degree offenses, and there will be some second-degree offenses, that will allow them to enter into the program, and with partnership with OIC, they'll get vocational training skills, they'll get job placement, and we start them along that line, along that journey of economic empowerment, a sense of worth, a sense of belonging, so they can be productive citizens of society.
Yes, there are obstacles. Yes, there are perilous times. Yes, there are folks that are watching and waiting for opportunity to cease and put it all to an end. But I can tell you there is conviction on this stage. There is conviction that we're going to do something better. But I'm asking y'all to be the force that pushes this forward. Because when they come and they try to roll it back, we need the community to come forward and stand next to us and help push this forward.
We're going to sign here today in front of you all live. But what's important to know, because we have our funders, the U.S. Department of Labor here today, who gave us a $4 million grant for this effort, that in lieu of incarceration for nonviolent offenses, they'll have an opportunity to come to partner with the state attorney's office, Broward County State Attorney's Office, Public Defender's Office, and OIC to make sure we do different. So let's sign this. So y'all can see.
After that excitement, it was time to fuel up. A lavish meal was spread out in the ballroom and even inside the hallway. There was more than food to digest. It was only halftime, and the OIC would not disappoint.
Having immediate exposure while you're young. And most of us also know, if you didn't have a parent or grandparent or immediate relative that was an entrepreneur, we're told K through 12 that it was actually about college. Right. I'm actually from Michigan. You were told K through 12, and my colleague would tell you the same. We were told K through 12 and maybe college, but we were K through 12, go to the factory. No one K through 12 told you about entrepreneurship.
You're not ready to starve for it. And if you're not ready to do whatever it takes to hustle for it, you're not going to eat and you will die in business. And that's the side that we don't share. We glamorize, go start your business, which is why you have a lot of small businesses who stay at that small level, because we just said, go out and do it. Go be an entrepreneur. Instead, there's more of us that probably should be focused on entrepreneurship, where in your professional worlds, right? You can be starting up, taking whatever skill set you have in your professional world and doing something in parallel with that, because entrepreneurship is not easy.
There's an intention everywhere we go. Who needs our service? You have to understand that. And then what is that overall market? Is there enough money to be made and that you can inject yourself in that market and also make money, even though there are others in that market? So you have to do your research before you just launch your business.
We think that it's a responsibility of financial services and financial institutions to create even just basic levels of service where people are not, hit with penalties, overdraft charges, below certain balance charges, things that just don't make any sense, because we know that some people are doing well and some people are living paycheck to paycheck. They shouldn't be penalized just to have a safe place to keep their money.
I looked around, I didn't see enough local people attending
Bitcoin 2021. I didn't see enough people that looked like me. So I went down to the city of Miami and met with Mayor Suarez and the Venture Miami team. And we was able to create Miami NFT Week. A lot of people don't know that I'm a co-founder of Miami NFT Week. And I did that for people that look like me. And we was able to have an incredible conference. We're coming back this year as well for Tech Week again, Tech Month. To have thousands of people there was great. But to look and see a gentleman from Russia sitting next to a guy with gold teeth and gold chains on his neck, that's what made me feel good. And from that, we now have partnered with Florida Memorial, and we have an Innovation Tech Lab that's opening September 1st.
Next year, you'll lead it. You'll be sitting here, and because it's got to come from the community. It can't come from outside. We've had enough attempts at outside, and it just doesn't work.
If I'm gonna lead it next year, we gotta have results, people. I mean, everybody. We're gonna do it. We ain't just talking about it. They call me say do. If we say something, we gonna do it. All right. So we need results. All right.
Okay, say do. We're in.
For more information on OIC South Florida, go to www.oicsfl.org. And finally, I want to touch on growing your business through story. This is the core of what Newsworthy Stories does. It uses the same techniques that the newsroom uses to engage with a viewer, and that's what you should do on social media. And so I wanted to give you a little insight, a little look at what my introductory workshop looks like on how to get television news coverage for television and social media. And so you get a lot of stories about murder, you get a lot of stories about crime, weather, politics, and the reason why you get those stories is not because that's what news wants to cover. You know why you get those stories? It's because those stories are easily accessible to the newsroom. They are easy to verify. Trust me, anytime there's a big story that has nothing to do with crime or murder, they're going to cover it all day. Because all of a sudden, right, there's no murders or accidents or anything on those days. Big weather days, where are all the murders and accidents? Oh, they're still happening, but that's not what they really want to cover. Anytime there's a big football or a big, opening, they would rather cover community-based stories because that impacts the community, and they don't want to do negative every day. The problem is nobody's sending them the stories. Okay, so my job as a producer, selfish producer, what I'm doing now is I'm teaching businesses how to identify those stories so that you will share them with the newsroom. So not only have I been a news producer all these years, I've always been a freelance producer. And why that's important to you is because most of that time I was producing corporate videos. So now I tell it like a news story, but I highlight it like a corporate video. All the way through these stories that you've been watching on social media, Angelina is filled with websites along the bottom, things scrolling. I'm telling you, what their messaging. Number one, when you tell a story on social media, you own the messaging. The media doesn't. It's huge. When news comes to cover you from your local ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox affiliate, they own the messaging. Yes, Angelina.
No, I think it's good to take advantage of owning a story versus having the media cover it because they give it a different spin.
Not only that, as they are bound by commercials. Okay, so when news comes to do a story about you, they usually only have a minute 15, minute 30, generally speaking, because commercials only allow for about 20 minutes of news, and then you've got weather and sports, and weather and sports takes a chunk out of that too. That breaking news is so important, right? Because breaking news says we have something that's exclusive. We have something that's happening right now, and we want to be known for bringing it to the community first. That's why breaking news is so important to them. They want to be first. They want to be the go-to people for the community, because what people don't recognize is that news is really a service organization. They operate just like a nonprofit. Nonprofits have sponsors, right, that pay the bills, or donors. News has a commercial. The only product they have is the story. And that's what I did. I was a salesperson. Didn't realize I was in sales, but I was. As a producer, it was my job to sell every story, make sure that angle of the story would connect with people. That's what you want to think. The most powerful marketing tool you have is your phone. 100%. I have been getting news coverage with my telephone, and I teach businesses. I even have a masterclass on how to shoot video that you can share with the media with a press release, and they will cover it. Why? Because they just don't have enough camera crews to get around to all the stories, some of these other stories that we really like, right? They love those stories too, but they just don't have enough camera crews to go around and cover them. So one of the first things I'm going to tell you, the most powerful thing for, do not shoot like this for television, horizontally. When you shoot it vertically, what happens? You see that black on both sides. It's so annoying, okay? It just doesn't look professional. But if you shoot it horizontally, no one at home is going to know that your video was shot on your phone. And news kind of likes that. They don't want to tell everybody we're using your phone video, okay? Unless they have to. They do use phone video a lot now, but you have to keep that in mind, because this is your number one marketing tool. And I tell people, your phone goes with you everywhere you go, but your marketing department doesn't. You want to show whatever is strongest about what you do and whatever you love most. Don't be all over the place. Decide who you're going to be and blast it. You know what I mean? Because for me, people keep trying to make me a PR person because I'm very good at generating news coverage. But I'm good at generating news coverage because of this, because of what you're doing today, because I know media inside and out. I know strategy. I know how to tell you how to get from point A to point B. I know how to turn a story that sounds like a commercial, because that's what's happening. Most businesses and nonprofits even, they're so used to selling themselves that when they send a press release, they sound like commercials. Well, that's a conflict of interest for news. So you have to change the point of view. And that's what I do. Identifying those news stories and changing that storyline just a little bit. It's usually just a little, because sometimes I'll tell people, I said, if you're a business that has helped a client, let that client send the press release. Let the client say, this business, this coaching business saved my life. Okay. Totally different story. People now relate. It doesn't sound like a commercial. Now, if you say, I helped all these people, it's a commercial. But if the client says it, totally different.
I actually do marketing myself. I don't do for myself what I do for other people. And it's like the painter whose house needs to be painted. Just serving and helping other people takes a precedent over my own branding, my own. I do branding as well. I love to promote instrumental, essential. I would even use the word essential for businesses. And I believe that you're knowledgeable, and I believe that you're passionate, which is very important for me. I don't work with people who are just in this for selfish reasons. I like to work with people who, when they talk about what they do, their face is gleaming, they're smiling, that's the type of people that I like to be around. So yes, I did enjoy your presentation, and
thank you for your time.
Yeah. No, the same for me. What I like more is, of course, that it's simple the way you explain it. However, it is, of course, you have been doing, and like I told you before, I see your growth and your expansion and your passion as well. So for me, going into kind of having the mindset to be taking pictures and to be talking. A lot of times when I'm at events, especially networking, I don't know what to say if I were to go on camera. So it's like being prepared, the mindset to make sure I'm on camera as much as possible. So I'll be able to post it and let people get to know me more.
That's it.
So, it's and the story. I have to improve my story. And
You just need to tell it. Your story, nobody can tell you how to tell you who you are, right?
Yeah.
Your
enough.
story is original. So
Yeah.
your story doesn't need improving. You just need to share it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you can go to my website at Newsworthy Story. That's NEWSTORY.com. And you can click on upcoming workshops and it will take you to Eventbrite. And there you will find all of my workshops and master classes. And you don't have to take them in the order that I have arranged them. They're born out of my book, How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think, but you don't have to take it in that order because some people already know what elements you need to put in the story. Other people need to know how to write a press release. Others need to understand that they can use their phones, right, to generate news coverage and for television and social media. The digital news stations also thrive on phone video. So let me show you how to grow your business through story by taking one of the workshops and master classes, and all of them come with my handbook, How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. Go into this fourth quarter strong. Do something that you've never done, and you won't be disappointed. So I look forward to seeing you at some of the events we talked about. The Unmasked Gala, the OIC Middle Class Summit, and of course, the workshops and masterclasses. Grow your business through story.